There is a truth that most people don't want to hear, but it has the power to change everything if you accept it. You're not ready yet. Not because you are incapable, not because you lack potential, but because you haven't prepared yourself enough to handle what you're asking for. And that realization is not an insult. It's an opportunity. Because the moment you accept that you're not ready, you also accept that you can become ready. Most people want success before they build the mindset required to sustain it. They want results without discipline. They want recognition without struggle. They want the outcome, but they ignore the process. And when things don't work out, they blame luck, circumstances, or other people. But the truth is simple. Life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're prepared for. Think about it. If you were given everything you desire right now, the success, the money, the responsibility, would you be able to handle it? Would you have the discipline to maintain it? The mindset to grow it? The strength to deal with the pressure that comes with it? Most people don't ask themselves these questions. They focus on receiving, not becoming. Being not ready doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're in the preparation phase. It means there are lessons you still need to learn, habits you still need to build, and weaknesses you still need to overcome. And that phase is not something to avoid. It is something to embrace. Because preparation is what separates temporary success from lasting success. There are skills you haven't mastered yet. There are challenges you haven't faced yet. There are situations that will test your patience, your discipline, and your character. And until you go through those experiences, you won't be ready for the level you're aiming for. That's not a limitation, it's a process. Most people quit during this phase. They get frustrated because they don't see immediate results. They feel like they're stuck. They compare themselves to others who seem to be ahead, and slowly they lose motivation. But what they don't realize is that this is the exact moment where growth is happening. Not on the surface, but inside. Growth is uncomfortable. It forces you to confront your weaknesses. It forces you to push beyond your limits. It forces you to be patient when you want results now. And that's why most people avoid it. They would rather stay comfortable than become capable. But if you truly want to reach a higher level in life, you have to accept discomfort. You have to accept that you will not be ready in the beginning. You have to accept that you will struggle, make mistakes, and feel uncertain, because that is how readiness is built. Every challenge you face is preparing you. Every failure is teaching you something. Every delay is building your patience. Nothing is wasted if you are willing to learn from it. But if you keep complaining, comparing, and avoiding responsibility, you will stay in the same place. There is a version of you that is ready. A version of you that can handle pressure, make strong decisions, stay disciplined, and keep going even when things get difficult. But that version is not created overnight. It is built through daily effort, through learning, through failure, and through persistence. So instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask yourself, what do I need to become to get there? Shift your focus from outcomes to preparation. Because when you become ready, the opportunities will come. And when they do, you won't just reach success, you will be able to keep it. You're not ready yet, but if you stay committed to the process, you will be. The hardest part about accepting that you're not ready yet is swallowing your ego. Because deep down, you want to believe that you deserve more right now. You want to believe that you're capable, that you're prepared, that you're just one opportunity away from everything changing. But the truth doesn't always match what we feel. And growth begins the moment you choose truth over ego. The moment you stop pretending you're ready and start working to actually become ready. That's when everything starts to shift. Ego will tell you to skip steps. It will convince you that you need to practice, that you don't need to learn more, that you're already good enough. And for a while, you might believe it. But reality always exposes the truth. Because when real pressure comes, when real challenges appear, you cannot rely on confidence alone. You need competence. And competence is built through preparation, not assumption. Most people fall in love with the idea of success, but they ignore the responsibility that comes with it. They want the rewards, but they don't prepare for the pressure. They don't prepare for the sacrifices, the discipline, the consistency, and the mental strength required to sustain that level. And that's why even when some people achieve success, they lose it just as quickly. Because they were never ready to hold it. Being unprepared is dangerous, not just because you might fail, but because you might succeed too early. And success without preparation can be more destructive than failure. It can expose your weaknesses, magnify your flaws, and put you in situations you are not equipped to handle. That's why preparation is not optional. It is necessary. There is a reason why things take time. There is a reason why you don't get everything you want immediately. It's not because life is unfair. It's because life is preparing you. Every delay has a purpose. Every obstacle is building something within you. But if you only focus on what you don't have yet, you will miss what you are gaining in the process. You are gaining patience. You are gaining discipline. You are gaining awareness. And these are the things that will allow you to succeed when the time comes. Another reason people feel stuck is because they are focused on the wrong things. They are chasing results instead of chasing improvement. They are looking for shortcuts instead of building systems. They want quick wins instead of long-term growth. And that mindset keeps them trapped because real success doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from consistency. You have to ask yourself a difficult question. If nothing changes in your life right now, would you still continue to improve yourself? Would you still wake up early, learn new skills, work on your discipline, and push yourself to grow? Because if your effort depends on results, you will always struggle. But if your effort is driven by purpose, you will keep going no matter what. The truth is, readiness is not a single moment. It is a process. It's built through repetition, through showing up every day, through doing the work even when you don't feel like it, through choosing growth over comfort again and again. And over time, those small choices create a version of you that is capable of handling bigger opportunities. You don't wake up one day and suddenly become ready. You become ready by doing the things that unprepared people avoid, by facing your weaknesses instead of hiding from them, by learning what you don't know, by practicing what you're not good at, and by staying consistent even when progress feels slow. There will be moments when you feel like giving up, moments when you question whether all this effort is worth it, moments when it feels like nothing is changing. But those moments are part of the process. They are tests of your patience, your discipline, and your commitment. And if you can push through those moments, if you can stay consistent when it's hard, when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable, that's when you start separating yourself from the majority. Because most people quit when it gets difficult. But the ones who keep going are the ones who eventually become ready. So stop rushing the process. Stop comparing your journey to others. Stop wishing you were somewhere you haven't prepared for yet. Instead, focus on becoming better every day. Focus on building the habits, the mindset, and the discipline required for the life you want. Because when the opportunity finally comes, just want it. You will be ready for it. At some point in this journey, something begins to shift within you. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's real. You start to realize that the problem was never the lack of opportunities, it was the lack of preparation. You begin to see that life has not been holding you back. It has been waiting for you to catch up to the level you are asking for. And that realization changes everything, because now you stop blaming the outside world and start focusing on what you can control. This is where most people face a difficult truth. They were not as ready as they thought they were. And accepting that truth can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like failure. But in reality, it's progress. Because you cannot fix what you refuse to acknowledge. The moment you become honest with yourself is the moment you take your first real step forward. You begin to look at your habits differently. You start questioning how you spend your time, what you focus on, and what you avoid. You notice the distractions that once felt normal. You see how much time was wasted on things that didn't move your life forward. And instead of ignoring it, you decide to change it. Not all at once, not perfectly, but intentionally. This is where discipline starts to take shape. Not the kind of discipline that comes from excitement or temporary motivation, but the kind that is built quietly through repetition. You start doing things even when you don't feel like it. You start choosing what is necessary over what is easy. And slowly those small decisions begin to redefine who you are. There is also a moment where you stop seeking validation from others. Before, you may have wanted people to notice your efforts, to recognize your progress, to acknowledge your potential. But now, something changes. You realize that external validation is temporary, it comes and goes. And if your motivation depends on it, you will always feel unstable. So you shift your focus inward. You begin to work for your own standards, your own growth, your own satisfaction. And that's when your mindset becomes stronger. Because now you are no longer distracted by what others are doing. You are no longer comparing your progress. You are no longer chasing attention. You are focused, fully focused on becoming the person you need to be. And that level of focus is rare. It is what separates those who talk about change from those who actually achieve it. But this phase is not easy. It requires sacrifice. It requires you to let go of comfort, to say no to distractions, and to spend time alone working on yourself. And sometimes that can feel isolating. It can feel like you are falling behind while others are enjoying life. But what you don't see is that you are building something deeper, something that will last. You are building strength. You are building discipline. You are building resilience. And these are the qualities that will carry you through challenges that most people cannot handle. There will still be doubts. There will still be moments when you question yourself. Moments when you feel like you're not progressing fast enough. But instead of stopping, you keep going. Because now you understand something important. Progress is not always visible. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean you are not improving. Every day you show up, you are getting closer. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you are becoming stronger. Every time you push through resistance, you are becoming more prepared. And then slowly, almost without realizing it, you start to change. Not just in what you do, but in who you are. Your thinking becomes sharper. Your actions become more intentional, your confidence becomes more grounded. And for the first time, you start to feel that you are becoming ready. Not fully, not perfectly, but enough to take the next step. And that's the key. Readiness is not about being perfect. It's about being prepared enough to move forward, to take action, to handle what comes next. And once you reach that point, everything begins to shift. Opportunities that once felt out of reach start to become possible. Challenges that once intimidated you become manageable. Because now you are not the same person you used to be. You have grown, you have learned, you have prepared. And while you may have started this journey hearing the words, you're not ready yet. Now, for the first time, you can say, I'm getting there. And then one day, something changes. Not suddenly, not in a dramatic explosion, but in a quiet, undeniable way. The things that once felt difficult begin to feel manageable. The habits you struggle to build now feel natural. The discipline you once forced yourself in becomes part of your identity. And without even realizing it, you start operating at a level you once thought was out of reach. This is the moment where preparation begins to reveal its power. You start noticing a difference in how you handle situations. Where you once reacted emotionally, you now respond with control. Where you once hesitated, you now take action. Where you once doubted yourself, you now trust your ability to figure things out. And this shift is not luck. It is the result of everything you have been doing behind the scenes. Every day, without recognition, opportunities begin to appear. But what's interesting is they were always there. The difference is now you can see them. Before, you lacked the awareness, the confidence, or the skill to recognize them. But now, because you have prepared yourself, you are able to step into situations that once felt intimidating. And instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel ready to engage. This is where many people get confused. They think opportunities create readiness, but in reality, readiness reveals opportunities. When you are prepared, the same environment looks completely different. What once looked like risk now looks like potential. What once looked like difficulty now looks like growth. And that shift in perception is what allows you to move forward. But even at this stage, the journey is not over. In fact, it is just beginning at a higher level, because with new opportunities come new challenges. With growth comes greater responsibility, and the version of you that you have built must now continue to evolve. You cannot stop. You cannot become comfortable, because the moment you stop growing, you start falling behind again. There is a temptation at this stage to relax, to feel like you've made it, to take your foot off the gas. But the truth is, this is where discipline matters even more, because it's easy to work hard when you have nothing, but it's much harder to stay consistent when you start gaining something. And that's where many people lose their progress. They become comfortable too soon. But you are different now. You understand the process. You understand what it took to get here, and you know what it will take to go further. So instead of slowing down, you double down. You continue learning. You continue improving. You continue pushing yourself beyond your limits, not because you have to, but because it has become who you are. Growth is no longer something you chase. It is something you live. At this point, people start noticing you. They see the way you carry yourself, the way you think, the way you act. They may not understand your journey, but they see the results. And some of them will ask, how did you do it? They will look for a shortcut, a secret, a quick answer. But there is no shortcut. There is no secret. There is only preparation. What they don't see are the days you struggled, the moments you doubted yourself, the times you kept going when it felt pointless. They don't see the discipline, the consistency, the effort that built you. They only see the outcome. And that's why they think it happened quickly. But you know the truth. You know how long it took. You know what it cost. And because of that, you value it differently. You don't take it for granted. You don't treat it lightly. Because you understand that everything you have built can only be maintained through the same discipline that created it. This is where you fully understand the meaning of those words you once heard. You're not ready yet. At that time, it felt like a limitation. It felt like something was holding you back. But now, you see it differently. It was not holding you back. It was guiding you forward. It was pushing you to become stronger, wiser, and more prepared. And now, standing at this stage of your journey, you can finally see it clearly. You were not ready then, but you are becoming ready now. And the most powerful part is this: you didn't wait for readiness, you built it. And in the end, you realize something that changes the way you see everything. Being not ready was never a weakness. It was a stage, a necessary phase that shaped you, tested you, and forced you to grow into someone capable of handling more. What once felt like a delay was actually preparation. What once felt like frustration was actually direction. And what once felt like being left behind was actually life giving you the time to become who you needed to be. When you look back, you begin to see the pattern. Every struggle had a lesson. Every failure had a purpose. Every moment of doubt was pushing you to build strength. Nothing was wasted. Even the times you felt lost were guiding you toward clarity. But you could only understand that once you went through it, because some lessons cannot be explained. They must be experienced. There is a deep sense of pride that comes from knowing you didn't rush the process, that you didn't take shortcuts, that you didn't settle for being unprepared. You chose to grow even when it was hard. You chose discipline even when it was uncomfortable. You chose patience even when you wanted results immediately. And those choices built something within you that no one can take away. You are no longer the person who is waiting for opportunities. You are the person who is ready for them. Not because everything is perfect, but because you have built the mindset, the discipline, and the resilience to handle whatever comes your way. You don't fear challenges the same way anymore because you know you can learn, adapt, and overcome. And that's the real transformation. It's not just about reaching a goal or achieving success. It's about becoming someone who is capable of creating success again and again. Someone who doesn't depend on luck, but on preparation. Someone who doesn't panic under pressure, but performs through it. Someone who doesn't stop growing no matter how far they've come. There will always be new levels, new challenges, new situations that test you in different ways. But now you approach them differently. You don't ask, am I ready? You ask, what do I need to learn to become ready? And that mindset ensures that you never stay stuck. It keeps you moving forward, no matter where you are in life. And perhaps the most powerful realization of all is this: you don't need to be fully ready to start. You just need to be willing to prepare. Because readiness is not something you wait for. It is something you build step by step, day by day, through consistent effort and learning. So if you are at the beginning of your journey, if you feel like you are not ready, if you feel like you are behind, don't be discouraged. That's exactly where you're supposed to be. Because every person who has ever achieved something meaningful started at that exact point. Uncertain, unprepared, not ready, but willing to grow. And if you stay committed, if you keep learning, if you keep pushing yourself even when it's difficult, one day you will reach a moment where everything makes sense. A moment where you look at yourself and realize how far you've come. A moment where you understand that all the struggle was worth it. And in that moment, those words will no longer feel like a limitation. They will feel like a reminder of how far you've come. You're not ready yet, but now you can finally say with confidence, I am ready.